Hey everyone, how's it going? Good to see you all. For everyone new here, my name is Vipin Singh and I work as a technologist out of Gurgaon, India. In today's video, I want to continue building on something I shared some time back on this channel as well. This was a video on 3 leadership principles that I feel very strongly about, and I'll share a link to that video right here in the description, so if you get a chance, go check that out too. Today, I'll share 3 more principles which I feel a good leader should try to adhere to. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first principle is that as a leader, you have to set priorities and be decisive. Don't waffle. Not these kind of waffle. I think everybody likes these, right? Anyway, so think about this, right? Any team needs a sense of assurance and calm to succeed and achieve its goals. If the priorities for the team change very frequently, the team would not feel very productive, and the constant change will create stress, anxiety, and confusion. Nobody likes that. If you share a new priority with your team every few days or every few weeks, then that does not inspire a lot of confidence in your troops either. Constantly changing priorities is a sign that you don't know too well where you are headed. So as a good leader, you should try to figure out the direction for the group first and foremost. Some call it direction, some call it vision. It's really one and the same thing. Based on that direction, you should be able to set priorities for the team and share them very clearly. Now, despite the clarity on direction, there would definitely be instances where you'll need to change or tweak priorities. In such cases, be sure to tell your team what the top priority is and what prior things they were working on should move down the order. If everything is a priority, then nothing is. Simple as that. Leaving this murky and not clarifying because secretly you want everything to be done is a total cop-out. Don't do it. Another hard aspect of setting priorities is having the hard conversations with your stakeholders, within the organization or outside. This is tough, but as a leader, you owe this to your team. Only when priorities are known and agreed upon by everyone, they can be their productive best without feeling frustrated. Cool, so with that, we'll move on to the next principle. So the next principle is demonstrating respect for everyone. Now this could sound like a nice fuzzy thing that I just tell you and walk away, but we don't want that, right? We want to clarify this. When I say that a good leader should respect everyone, obviously it means that he should be handling every conversation or interaction politely and compassionately. It also means that you don't lose your patience talking to someone. You're not abrupt with anyone or say anything that devalues anyone. These are things that are absolute no-brainers. But we'll go one level deeper. Respect also means respecting and valuing and welcoming what others bring to the table. Their ideas, inputs, opinions, difference in worldviews, no matter how different they are from your own. As a leader, it's your job not only to appreciate and welcome those things, but actively work on getting those out. Diversity should not just be diversity in gender or race, but in opinions and worldviews as well. Unfortunately, a lot of places miss that point completely. The most important thing I'd say though is that you can do those things only if you fundamentally believe that every individual you work with has a unique ability that they bring to the table. And you and your group would be worse off without that ability and perspective. Whether you show it or not, but if you believe that others are less intelligent, less worthy or less deserving than you, then sooner or later it'll slip out and people will know. If you try to fake respect, it just doesn't work. Period. Okay, so on to the third and the last principle for today's video, and that is simply that a good leader welcomes and provides feedback. What I've seen over the years is that people find it really hard to provide feedback, especially when it is constructive. So what's the reason, right? Well, something that I read a while back on this topic and has stayed with me was this idea that people find it hard to share constructive feedback because they can't separate the individual from the feedback. They think when they give someone feedback, especially an area of growth or improvement, they are pointing out a shortcoming and thereby condemning the entire individual, not just merely pointing out a very minor aspect of their work or behavior. Now, any individual shows a number of different traits and behaviors, and you could actually like almost all of them and not just maybe one single solitary one, and that should be perfectly acceptable to share. I think the other reason people worry about giving feedback, and rightly so, is that if constructive feedback is given unskillfully, it could actually be very detrimental. Now, I could tell you some of the ways in which you as a leader could build a culture of sharing healthy feedback, but that is a topic for a different video perhaps. Today, I just want to stress on the fact that as a leader, you have got to be able to do this. But I also feel that no matter how good of a feedback culture you create, people will still be hesitant. That's just how people are at times. And this is where I talk about this idea of a personal feedback loop. I encourage everyone to create their own feedback mechanism, and that is through reading. And the idea is very simple. When you read something, anything, about management or leadership or professional relationships or personal relationships, see how you're able to relate that to your own self and your own way of working. Take pointers and introspect. See with the new information that you've just consumed, what can you do better now? How can you improve? And that is the feedback loop that can never fail, because you're just reliant on yourself, not anybody else. Once you do this, then encourage other people around you to do the same as well. This is all about self-awareness. A more self-aware team automatically becomes better over time. If everyone in your group is doing this thing, I can assure you that you would be in a pretty good place with respect to feedback. Alright, that wraps it up for today's video. How did you like it? Tell me in the comment section down below. And if you did enjoy it and found it useful, do consider sharing and subscribing. Take care, and I'll see you around.